Hi everybody, it's me, Kimberly Madden, and I am here to talk to you about the next steps. Let me move my microphone up. I've heard a few people mention already in comments prior that they couldn't hear me. I apologize if you're following along with me. Welcome. I am not an expert. I am just like you. I am just following the motions of the next step, at least in the state I reside in, which is Maryland, and hope that you will also find any snafus along the way. So I already created another video for you guys, but inadvertently I did some stupid things. I kept holding up sheets that showed my father's estate numbers and things like that, which in the long run was not the best decision. So I'm re-recording. But I wanted to talk to you about some really important things actually that I found out after I recorded the other one. So this works out better anyways. So you've gathered your things and you go to the registry of wills. Hopefully you already have a will registered. I couldn't find my dad's latest and updated will. There were others that he had revised over the time, but really the most important one was the one that we had. But because of the fact that we had already registered that will, they had it on hand and it was smooth sailing. So I recommend that if you know someone is about to pass, that you make sure to get that, because there's so much that goes on and it's so crazy and chaotic with all the things that you have to do. That just helps things along the way. I was so relieved when I was able just to get a copy. So a couple things. They sat me down. The woman was absolutely lovely. I made an appointment first, which they do accept walk-ins until, at least for my office, until 3 o'clock. And then after that, appointment only. But they do prefer appointments for obvious reasons. So I checked in, went through a little security kind of thing, checked in, sat down. A woman called me back. We sat down and she asked me about the will and if I had a will. And then she asked me about personal property, if he had personal property. And a lot of what we had, I say we because my father and I'm repeating what I had said previously just for people if they're only wanting this video in particular. So prior, my father and I had put a lot of things in my name as well. So he had POD for the bank account, but towards the end, he added me onto it. We did quitclaim deeds to transfer the deed of the properties to my name. So those aren't considered personal property, but a car, a boat, things like that, they are, because you do have to go to MVA. And so all those things are taken and lumped to, the current market value, and they assign all of that. Now, they ask for your funeral expenses. So the funeral expenses for me personally were rather low, but I'm not even done because we chose to get a cremation done, and we are going to hold a ceremony elsewhere, which is something I had said in a previous video. If you would like to look at that, please feel free to click that video as well for the funeral home and decisions and what you need from there. And she said, okay, let's start with the funeral expenses. So that was actually, for this portion, $4,000. And she said, okay, now any personal property value, we're going to deduct from that. And anything within the range of whatever the funeral expenses were. In other words, if all of Dad's value of personal property was below what was paid out for funeral expenses, then I don't owe anything. If it is above funeral expenses, then that's where you have to pay the difference. I was very lucky. I didn't have to pay. And so they gave me a letter, which I can still show you, at least from this standpoint. I made the mistake of showing the whole thing last time. They give you a letter like this, which it essentially is for you. I'm saying just you, but it could be other people if, there's other family members involved, or if, for any other circumstance. It was me because I'm an only child. So my name is on it as the executor of the estate. Whoever is the representative or the executor of the estate, they'll be listed. Now, I was given an estate number, and that is for references. And then they date it, they stamp it, and they give one to you for every personal property that you listed. Now, unbeknownst to me, I was not aware. This video is about going to the registry of wills and going to the bank. Now, I was not aware that I could use more of these because it's my first time. I didn't really know or understand, and I did not go through this when my husband had passed away. I was given one letter, and that was sufficient. Copies were made, and it was fine. I'm getting requests, and I haven't even gone to MVA yet. When I go to MVA and then register the boat and things like that, I will need it. You need these almost everywhere you go. A lot of the places will go ahead and give you a copy, or just make a copy, or give you permission to bring a copy. But so far, I haven't even gone to MVA, and I've needed it everywhere I've gone elsewhere, which I'll create another video for. I'm just breaking it into pieces for everywhere I go because I know some people just want a certain thing or a certain place. So I then got a sheet of paper that was filed, and it was all about my duties and responsibilities as a personal representative of the estate. I then got a form or sheet. I wish I could show you, but because of the information on it, I really can't. Estate numbers and stuff like that. Anyways, I got a few of those that were filed along with the estate number, the county, and obviously the state. And then there's Schedule Bs and things like that. The Schedule B included everything that was part of my father's estate that was it titled only in his name. And so what I have to do in order to transfer the name and in order to transfer title, or in order to sell, I need to have a letter of administration for the small estate that I need to bring with me with the titles and things like that. So that was one thing I wanted to mention. Now on to the bank. So then I went and left the Social Security. Oh no, that's another thing. That's a separate thing. Scratch that and reverse it, because I'm not going to delete it out of here and edit and all that. I'm not that advanced yet. Maybe one day. So then I went to the bank. Now, as I mentioned, the bank already said that my name was on there and that I was fine to use it. But one of the things that I read about, especially if there's a significant amount of money, and if you're a personal representative or executor of the will, the best course of action in case anything arrives is for you to create a trust or estate account. So I went to the bank and wanted to go to find out, how do I do that? And when I sat down, they said, okay, provide the death certificate and provide the letter of administration for the estate. And that shocked me because that's the exact same thing I just said to you guys that is for the personal property. And they only give out one letter for each thing, car, boat, whatever it may be. So my heart was racing like, oh my gosh, am I going to run out of these? Very much like how it is when you have a death certificate and they want the death certificate. You're like, oh, okay, there goes another one. There goes another one. And I know that you can reorder these. They're not cheap though. They add up. And so with each time in my mind, I kind of got a little anxious going, oh no, I have so much to do. The last thing I want to have to do is go back and backtrack just to get more of these sheets and forms. Luckily, they only needed a copy. So they gave me back the original. And I hope it does for you too. And so we went through that process. Now, this was a very quick visit. I just went to the bank. I didn't make an appointment, but she said, you need to establish an estate account. But in order to do that, you have to first get an EIN. So I immediately went home and I went online. And here's the tip. The woman at the registration of wills told me you may need this kind of account. And she said, don't worry, it's all on the website. So if you go to m.gov, then you go to registration of wills, you get onto their website, and they give you a direct link to the IRS so that you can develop one of those accounts if you need. And I remembered that, so I immediately went home, got on the registry of wills, filled out all the forms, and within 5-10 minutes, I had the EIN. So then I immediately sent to the bank representative the EIN number, and she said, great, we're all set, ready to go. Let's schedule an appointment. And then we will go ahead and open this up and decide what you want to do. So that was pretty easy. Hopefully it's like that for you too in your state. But there is a lot of really helpful information that the Registry of Wills has because, I'm very grateful for that because there's so many things that you feel like you have to rush and have to do and have to notify. And there's the pressure and the responsibility of it all. And then on top of it, you're like, okay, what do I do next? And are they going to take all my forms? And am I going to get in a lot of trouble for this? It is where if there are other people involved and there is a significant amount of constraints on time, like when the will is read, depending on your will, is it, a certain monetary amount that needs to be out there and discussed? We'll talk about all that later, but these were all my anxieties, and you might be feeling the same. But I have to say, so far, the people, they're very kind. They're very courteous. They understand that you're going through processes that can be very stressful when you're grieving. And I think stressful even when you're not. But at the level that we can, I say we because for me too, I've already had one moment where I was definitely more anxious than I could have been in response. So I hope this helped you. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope to give you more information. After this, the next stop is going to the bank. and getting the information that's needed. And then also, I'm going to share with you a visit to the Social Security office and a little tidbit of something that I found out. So stay tuned, and I will talk to you again soon. Thank you so much. Bye for now.